Hello and welcome to 1909 Games. I'm Jan and I make games and I want to help you make games as well. Today let's look at Bolt. Bolt is a visual scripting tool if you don't know, so you don't have to write your code by your own, but it's still a little bit complicated. So let's dive into this. So at first, what do we need? We need a ball that gets spawned. We need something like a point where we want to spawn this ball, and we need something like a surface. So at first, here on a normal project, I've imported Bolt. If you don't know how that works, I will make a video about that as well, and it's somewhere up here. So, but at first, let's do a 3D object, and I want to have a plane. See that? Just as our ground. Simple, nothing special. Second up, we need to create a 3D object, and that will be a sphere. Here we go. Let's bring it up a little bit, and I want to change the material to, oh, maybe this plastic yellow. It doesn't matter, it's not about being beautiful today. Okay, so that's it. And we need one more empty object. Let's call this object spawner. Okay, now on this spawner, we need to add a component. Oh, let's get rid of all of this. So let's see. Oh, you know what? Rigid body 2D is rigid body is a good thing right here. We need this anyway. Okay, so now we want to add a component, and that will be here. You can see down here, bold. If you have typed in nothing, bold. Then we have this flow machine. Okay, I just want to make a new flow machine. For that, you know, if I click new, then it will open save macro. Okay, so let's make a new folder right here and call it bold, just bold. That's it. Okay, and we want to call this spawner. This will be our spawner. Okay, and now you see right here, we can edit the graph. If you click on edit the graph, you will see a new window will open up. Let's maximize. Okay, you see, we have the same stuff like we have when we will write a script. So we have a start function and an update function. We want to get rid of start function. We just don't need it right now in this tutorial. But what we need is one variable. So let's go to scene right here. And I want to add a new one that is called object to spawn. This will be from the type game object here. And we want to not use it right now. We will come to that later. Okay, but now we have set up our basic here. Okay, on the update. So what is the outcome that we want to have? We want to, you know, let's spawn something. So if you click here on right click in this field and type in instantiate. And you see instant is just enough. And you see game object instantiate original, position, and rotation. That is what we need. So we can decide what object do we want to spawn, at which position, and rotation. So instantiate is like spawning, okay? That's pretty easy. And you see, we need to connect, you know, somehow this, but not just like this. We need something in between here, so we need to define something. At first, when do we want to spawn? Let's say we want to spawn if we press a button. Let's right click and key down. And you see, input get key down. I want to have the key itself. Here we go. And you see, you can have a drag a menu here. You can go down like this, and let's search for a key that you want to bring down. So let's say B. If we press B, then we will spawn something. Okay, so this is the next thing that we want to check in an update. So in every like update. So next up, what we want to have is we want to have a branch. So if this is true or not, so it will check every update, do we get a key down or not? So let's add a branch. And we will connect both with this. So this pink button down here and this arrow. And if this is true, so if we get a key down, so what will happen next? So you just can drag out this arrow, and you see if you release it, it will automatically show you what you can do next. But in this case, we want just to connect it with the instantiate. Because if this is true, we want to instantiate an object. Okay, and now let's see what exact thing we want to spawn. So we see our original position and rotation right here. The original is a game object that we want to create. We can choose one of our assets, so a prefab, or we drag out this point here to the left side, release it, and let's see, we have a variable for that. And in the scenes variables, it is to, here we have a get object to spawn, okay? So this will be the object that we will spawn. Pretty easy so far. And the position will be the position of the spawner itself. So what we can say is transform and get position. So the position of ourselves, so of the spawner, of the object that holds this script. And the rotation, we can just drag it out here, and you see quaternion literally. Okay, so no rotation. We can make a rotation, but for ball, it's like useless. Okay, so far so good. Okay, now let's close our graph. So now you see here we have a new object that's called scene variables. We can click on it and you see the object to spawn is of type null at the moment. So let's go here. Let's change this to a game object. Okay, and the value is at the moment none. And what we want to do now is we want to take this sphere and drag and drop it down to our assets. So we have a prefab of it. And the scene variables will now go from null to what we said, game object. And we want to spawn a sphere like this. Now let's play or hit play, and you see nothing happens right now. And if we press B, you see there is this clone of a sphere. We just don't see it because at first we can get rid of this one, and the spawner itself is in a position that we cannot, see it. So let's just drag it where we need it. To make it better visible, you can select an icon right here. You see that? And the game view will be like this. Perfect. So now we can press play. And now we are in play mode. We press B and you see it is right here. The only thing that we need to change is on this prefab. We should add a rigid body to rigid body. I thought we have done that. Okay, so let's go back and again press play. Here we are, and the boards are falling down. Okay, now I see what we have done wrong. Or I'm sorry, on the spawner we have this rigid body. Of course we don't need a rigid body on the spawner because then it will fall down, and yeah, that's not good. So let's play it again now without a rigid body on the spawner, but on the ball, and press B. Or one ball is falling down, 2 balls are falling down, 3 balls are falling down, and so on. Okay, so this was a pretty simple way how we can spawn objects. Just instantiate them. If we now press play, okay, you see that? Now you see what's going on here. And that's a great thing about visual scripting. You see, okay, this update function gets something like information from this get input down. So, but since we are false, you see that right here. This is false, so we don't get an input down. So nothing will happen because this false arrow goes to nowhere. But if we now press B, see that? We get this input true and for 1 frame. So we will instantiate a game object, and now we get backwards a little bit to all the informations that we need to instantiate something. So what is the object, where is the object, and what rotation does it have? It's that easy. Do it again and I'll look at all the graphs, what will happen. So you see this circles moving towards the instantiate. So it's this easy to make objects appear in Unity using Bolt. I will have some links in the description for my courses, and I have a link to the asset store so you can add Bolt to your assets. And I hope I see you next time. Bye!